Hey everybody, it's Sid from Cool Movie Gram, your source for everything about cool film. Now be sure to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, let me know your thoughts, and check out my other content too. Oh, well, what can I say? I mean, this is it's quite a momentous occasion. I mean, I've actually kind of hit the 500 mark. Now, thank you very much to all those who have subscribed. You've made it so much more, and all those who have supported my channel. Shout out to people like Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema, Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, Leon from Hong Kong and Beyond, who have actually kind of like actively kind of posted my shared my content and kind of like made it more accessible. And the fact is that there's quite a fair few of you compared to how when I started this channel. I have actually managed to get quite a lot of positive feedback, and it's just been absolutely momentous. And of course, Video Tasties, Gareth Packham, I'm going to be doing a talk with him soon about Asian action stars in 90s and 2000s in Hollywood. So that's going to be an interesting talk on his channel. And also at the same time, of course, Rick Mallin from the Old AF Film Reviewers. Great guy, you know, he's always kind of like, even since I was like just a very small, minute channel with hardly any subscribers, I was actually getting kind of quite a fair bit of traction thanks to him. And and of course it's a giveaway time as well, because I did kind of say in one of my previous videos, which is for the Radiance Blu-ray review of A Moment of Romance, I said I was going to be giving away this Blu-ray, which is the King Media Korean Blu-ray for A Moment of Romance. Which it's still a good Blu-ray, but you know, of course, compared to the Radiance one, they've actually kind of went all out. And the giveaway is for whoever commented. I would have actually done a random selection. There's only one person who commented and told me his favorite Blu-ray release or physical media release of 2023. It's Rick at Old AF Film Reviewers. Now this will be coming to you in the post. Hope you enjoy it. And of course, you can follow me on my Instagram. That's where I pretty much post a lot of my stuff on. Now today, it's the main subject of the video is to do with, well, it is of course, being that it's about movies, I'm going to be covering different things. So it's not going to be reviewing any Blu-rays or even a movie review or anything like that, or even a movie list. I'm going to be going through talking about books. Yep, now the books that I'm going to be covering are going through just a few of the books that I've got so far about Hong Kong cinema. And the reason why I talk a lot about Hong Kong cinema is because I'm an avid fan. I love Hong Kong movies, and also at the same time, it's just that I love learning about it. And now I do love all types of movies from any genre, any language or whatnot. But it just seems to me that whenever I'm talking about Hong Kong movies in particular, they tend to get more viewers, more people watch it, more people like them. So that's why I do tend to kind of like gravitate more towards cinema of the East. I'm going to be covering more books about Hong Kong cinema, the ones that I've read. I'm kind of just going through them and you know what I think of them and why I just want to share my collection with you. Okay, now, the first book that I'm going to cover is is Hong Kong Action Cinema by Bey Logan. Yeah, he's like a British man who's actually from the same town as me, city, which is Birmingham, and he's actually kind of like, he's worked alongside many big names. He got involved in Hollywood with that whole Dragon Dynasty label. The Weinsteins, and also he's kind of worked with Jackie Chan, he's worked with Jet Li, Donnie Yen, who, you name it, you know, he's kind of like, he's a martial arts practitioner as well, and he's, he's an author, and this is the book that he's covered, which is Hong Kong Action Cinema, and it's kind of like, I like the presentation of the book. It kind of covers everything from like for example, kung fu movies. It kind of starts off with some of the Shaw Brothers. It covers like the Silent Days. For example, black and white cinema of like Kwon Tak-hing doing the Wong Fei-hung movies, all the way through to like got people like Fu Xin, Chen Kwon-tai covered. Bruce Lee, of course, extensively covering like Bruce Lee's success, and the fact that it's got a lot of like pictures, black and white, and even color. Then it goes through to Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung. It kind of covers Donnie Yen, also people like you got a lot of these things. I mean, I've still got this little kind of like Black Belt magazine kind of like leaflet that came with it as well. It covers Sammo Hung, Gordon Liu, horror movies from Hong Kong, and even heroic bloodshed, such as we've got people like Simon Yam. You got the John Woo kind of covered extensively, Chai Yun-fat, Danny Lee. I mean, this is a great guide, and it covers the martial arts used, and also it was covering at the time when this book was published. It's also covering like the newer generation of Hong Kong talent that's kind of like on the rise, like Andy Lau, and I think Donnie Yen at the time was also then one of the new Dragons Rising, as it is one of the final chapters in this book. It's very detailed, very kind of like informative, and it's just a fun read. It's really I would say this needs to be on your bookshelf, especially if you want to learn more about like the action side of Hong Kong cinema. Everything from martial arts, heroic bloodshed. You've got the supernatural element of like kung fu movies, and then just the cover as well. It's actually kind of like it's a cool kind of cover that with Chai Yun-fat from the movie Full Contact on there, which was one of like Ringo Lam's movies, which was coincidentally the first movie that I reviewed. The first video I did on this channel was actually reviewing Full Contact, and that was the Hong Kong Legends DVD. I would say you would need to definitely check this book out. It's actually really cool, and it's a lot of kind of like it's got a lot of information. You can kind of like cover a lot of different things, and like it even covers like females, like for example Cynthia Rothrock and Cynthia Khan, Michelle Yeoh, and all them. It just kind of for someone who's kind of like pretty much new to Hong Kong action movies, I would say definitely you would need to check, read this book. It would kind of like help in kind of, help you down that rabbit hole. You'd find a lot more information on this, and then you can kind of like move on to onto different books. And also this one here, it's called, the next one is Once Upon a Time in China, a guide to Hong Kong, Taiwanese and mainland Chinese cinema. This is by an author named Jeff Yang. He also worked with Jackie Chan on his first autobiography, which was called I Am Jackie Chan, My Life in Action, which was out in about '98. That was came about when he had kind of finally broke the West with like Rush Hour, with his first like actual Hong Kong success, or Hollywood success. And he actually wrote this book itself. It's kind of like a very easily read kind of like for example, a red book. It's pretty much like there's not too much. It's not too complex or anything. There's a lot of details. It covers everything from like, for example, martial arts movies, and again wushu, but then also covers like movies by Chen Cage and other like Taiwanese filmmakers, and also going into like delving into the more later stuff like with like Stephen Chow and whatnot, and people, how Jin Yong's works, and like the stunt, going into like stunt work, and of course, people, things like, you can even look at the cover. It's got images of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Enter the Dragon, Rush Hour. You got Jet Li from and also Wong Kar-wai. It kind of doesn't go into too much depth, but again, this is just an easy read, but still a very kind of like a detailed book. It will help you in definitely expanding your novel. I mean, I know the first one, Hong Kong's action cinema, it's kind of out of print. This one you might still be able to get hold of off the internet. I mean, I got this off Amazon, and it's a fun light read, and it's actually full of a lot of great kind of great information presented in a very much more kind of like easy. Especially this is a perfect book for someone who's like brand new to the genre themselves, or to like Chinese films itself. But again, just like the previous one, which was Hong Kong action cinema, Bay Logan's book, this again, it kind of like it is a great kind of like easy kind of like entry into like learning about these movies, and it kind of goes into length, goes into some sort of length with like studios like martial art, well, Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest quite a lot, but then he also kind of goes into like how for example, Taiwanese cinema was making its own mark on the actual industry, as well as mainland Chinese filmmaking, and just the kind of impact it was having on like world cinema on its own, and it's just covering like the roots of where Chinese cinema kind of like started, and to like even where it is at the time of the book itself. And it's actually a really, I would say, you'd need to check this one out. It is actually a pretty solid read, and I would say you could pick this one up. And okay, and the next one that I have, this one's called Sex and Zen and a Bullet in the Head. Now, of course, two titles. One's a category 3 kind of like sex comedy, and Bullet in the Head, which is John Woo's understated masterpiece. Of course, this is like it's just like a square book. It's like, just look at the it's just not like a normal kind of like rectangular book, and it's actually quite thick, and it's great. It's got a foreword by Jackie Chan, and the authors are Stephen Hammond and Mike Wilkins. Of course, you got an image of Chow Yun-fat, which I believe is from the movie God of Gamblers, and of course the lovely scream siren there. This is for Will. No, not for Will. Sorry, for something that Leon would appreciate. The wonderful Ching Mi Yao, which is one of the publicity stills for the movie Naked Killer, and of course this covers like pretty much everything from martial arts movies, like swordplay movies. You have like directors like Choi Hark, John Woo, heroic bloodshed, horror movies, modern day martial arts, Bruce Lee. Everything is pretty much covered in here, and it's got like a lot of great information. It kind of like gives you like highlights movies, just like the books, and which ones you need to watch, and how pretty much a lot of great information is in this now. It even covers like things like Moon Lee, Yukari Oshima, like female martial artists, and even there's a small kind of section on like Michiko Nurishaki, who's a Japanese martial artist bodybuilder who featured in quite a few movies. And it's full of pictures, and for example, there's also great kind of like illustrations, and it's just the way that the book is pieced together. I mean, once you've kind of gone through I would say books like those two that were previously the first two, I mean, I would say this would be a great follow-up, because it kind of goes into a fair bit more. It kind of even covers some of the movies you should try and stay away from, and it's nicely put together, and it makes for an easy read. And even just, for example, just the packaging, like just the actual just the kind of way the book looks itself, it's it's actually quite it's interesting to have something like this in your on your bookshelf. And definitely I would say check this out. And then another one which kind of have seen quite a lot in the group that recently has been closed down, but then even in other Hong Kong movie kind of groups on Facebook, is this one, which is Hong Kong Babylon, by Frederick Dannon and Barry Long, an insider's guide to the Hollywood of the East. Now, of course, you've got an iconic poster image of Chow Yun-fat as Inspector Tequila Yoon from John Woo's masterpiece, Hard Boiled, holding a baby and a gun. And of course, it's a very iconic image. This book itself, it is absolutely amazing. It covers everything from, from more or less the beginnings, and you've got the, it covers Wong Kar-wai's movies, and also, for example, it's got everything you'd need to know, Stephen Chow, whatever, in, Chinese cinema in itself. And, what I like is this also kind of covers, like, for example, the Hoy brothers and movies like Aces Go Places and everything else that was involved. And it also kind of has like a section where you got film critics, like, for example, people like recommended viewing from like different kind of like people such as David Kerr, Andy Klein, Noel Carr, and Barry Long, Rick Myers, and Tony Range, John Powers, and a couple of others. They kind of list their essential must-watch Hong Kong movies, and this book was compiled with so much information. It's quite a big read. It's quite a very in-depth, but you will definitely, after reading, like, for example, something like this and all the other books that I've got that I've just already talked about, I would say you will probably become a very kind of like self-professed, like kind of like an expert in Hong Kong movies. You would have learned quite a lot, and it'll tell you which ones you need to sort of seek out, and just to kind of expand your horizon, check out other movies, and just appreciate them. And now, of course, when it comes to like the current time period that we're in at the moment, you've got amazing work from like boutique labels such as Eureka, you've got 88 Films, Radiance are kind of like coming up now, even Arrow. You've got all these kind of companies that are actually releasing really good transfers and restorations of some, of classic Hong Kong movies. Some of these films which were pretty much very inaccessible, and they weren't really in the best of presentations. But now, the fact is, once you've kind of like, you've watched these movies, you kind of look at the bonus features, read books such as these, and then you can actually kind of like appreciate the kind of movies that they were making. And it was just not kind of like seen as, as what the West was trying to kind of like say. when a lot of Western studios and like film distribution companies, like back in, like, for example, the late 90s and early 2000s, were trying to pass off Hong Kong movies as like a kind of lowbrow cinema. It wasn't really kind of like what a lot of people would consider as like high-end filmmaking. But then when you watch these movies in like their new kind of restorations, you would kind of see like how much expertise and mastery that the storytelling in Hong Kong movies itself, how it was able to hold its own in comparison to, of course, the greats from like Hollywood and such. But which is why these movies, and for example, Hong Kong genre in itself has actually kind of expanded. There are fans of like Hong Kong movies from like nearly every language group or every continent in the world as well. Like, people can speak any language, but the fact is that you're able to access these movies now. They are becoming a lot more easier to kind of like access and view, and you can actually you can appreciate it a lot more, especially with these 2K and 4K restorations that have actually been put out there. And this is bearing in mind, I remember a lot of the movies that I used to see were from I think, of course, I started off by watching a lot of martial arts movies, such as Bruce Lee was my childhood hero, and kind of watched a lot of his movies, him and Jackie Chan. We used to actually rent them from my local video stores. But then there was this one other store that kind of opened up when I was in when I was like in high school age, about 15, 16, and I was able to I found a store which was not too far from where I live at the moment, and it was owned by a couple of Vietnamese guys in Birmingham. And they used to have a lot of movies on VCD from like Hong Kong, so you'd see a bunch of movies that I've never actually seen VHS have had any VHS or DVD releases in the UK, and I was able to easily access them. So I mean, you'd have your regular Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Jet Li and whatnot, and John Woo movies and all, but then they would have movies beyond that. So you'd see other movies. I mean, I was introduced to Stephen Chow thanks to these people, and of course, that's where my kind of like, and a lot of the times the movies were on VCD, and VCD quality was not really great when you come to think of it. Really bad subtitles. Sometimes the image wasn't really cleaned up as well, and the fact that now that these films are becoming readily available in like HD, 2K, 4K, and they're looking absolutely stellar, and you get kind of like well accurately translated subtitles in these new releases, you can't help but kind of indulge and learn more about these movies as well. And of course, the other book that I have, which is my most recent purchase as of yet, because I saw it on someone posted about it on Facebook, which was East Asian Cinema by David Carter, camera books. Now this is supposed to include a free DVD of Jang Sung-woo's Cinema on the Road, a personal essay on cinema in Korea. I think I've seen that documentary before online somewhere, but the DVD was not included in the book that I received, which was I got it as a used copy on Amazon. And this covers everything from, for example, Wong Kar-wai, Choi Hark, you got Jang Yimou, Korean filmmakers like Kim Ki-duk, you got Park Chan-wook, Kim Ji-woon, and even, for example, Takeshi Kitano, Akira Kurosawa, Japanese cinema, and it just kind of gets into everything. It kind of covers a lot of the pretext. But I've read some of this. I haven't read all of it. I've kind of skimmed through it, but definitely a really interesting read. And I would say this book itself. This was, when was this? Oh, this was from 2007. So I would say this is when that whole kind of South Korean cinema boom. Of course, the images from Old Boy. A classic film, an absolute masterpiece, and I think this is kind of like covering a lot of the Korean movies, and goes into a lot of extensive detail, and how kind of at that time Korean cinema was kind of booming. It just kind of like people like Park Chan-wook, Kim Ki-duk, and Kim Ji-woon that kind of helped kind of explode on the scene in terms of like when it comes to Far East filmmaking. And they were making great movies which had like great entertainment, but also great artistic value. They had like a lot of deep, unique kind of diverse cinema. Anything from dark revenge movies, action thrillers, martial arts movies, as well as like horror and even like, for example, drama, and even their comedies. And it just kind of it highlighted exemplary filmmaking from filmmakers from their country too. But yeah, definitely. I mean, these are my my picks for the moment. I mean, my books. I mean, I have ordered the Essential Guide to Hong Kong Cinema, which is Rick Baker's book. Is doing like an updated version of it. I've already pre-ordered this about a month or two ago, and because the original one's been out of print for a while, and you can't even get a hold of this. It's just it's really hard. But the fact that they're doing an updated version of it, which I will be covering on this channel, and I would say buy it whilst you can, because they've been kind of promoting it all over social media. And he's got people like, for example, Vincent Lin's involved, and it's great. It's going to be a book I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait for it. And definitely, it's great to have another one of these on my bookshelf. If you guys have read any kind of like further books about Hong Kong cinema or Far East cinema in its general, I mean, which ones would you say out of these are the best, and which ones are the ones that I might need to get a hold of? Which ones would you recommend for me to actually read, which are actually good and not full of like, just full of errors? And I would like to have something that's kind of, maybe that would help in my my diction. Right, yeah, I mean, that was my video. And once again, congratulations to Ricky at Old AF. You'll be getting your Blu-ray in the post shortly. And oh, it's upside down there. You'll be getting this in the post shortly. And yeah, again, check out my content, and I will see you on the next one. And like I said, it's road to 1000.